Hey YouTube, it's Captain Lewis Belmont here, and today I'm going on a rant about parents and paintball. In general, they aren't for it. Um, if you have ever tried, if your parents have ever tried to talk you out of being obsessed with paintball, or they ask you why you're spending so much money on this, or just any of those generally sort of against the game kind of comments, you know what I'm feeling. My parents, their argument is, why are you drowning all your money on this? You can't drive a paintball gun. They talk about, because I'm saving for a car, and you know this if you've watched my other videos, because I'm all this budget baller stuff, you know me. But here's the thing. What parents don't get is that, especially if you play in tournaments and stuff, if you play Milsim and that's your thing, that's cool. But personally, I'm a tournament player, and I think of paintball as a sport. So, from my perspective, I'm playing a sport. What more do you want from me? I mean, my parents, I play two fairly unorthodox sports. I am an instructor at my Taekwondo school, and that is my sport. I go to tournaments for that. I compete in that at as high a level as I can, and I play paintball. I train for both. I work out. I go to practices for each of them, and I go to tournaments. I mean, in my opinion, that is playing sports, especially when it's something that you can honestly compete at, and there is a definite way to win. I don't think about like anything where it's being judged as much of a sport. Like, even in some of the Taekwondo tournaments, like if you're competing in forms or something like that, you do the same routine as the guy next to you, and the judges say which one they think is better. I don't think of that as a sport. Is it a competition? Sure, but in my opinion, sparring, like where you're actually fighting and there's a point system and stuff like that, that's the only sport version of that. So like gymnastics, figure skating, that stuff doesn't count in my head. That's just me. Please don't spam my comments with people who are talking about what's a sport and what's not. Whatever. And that's just what I'm defining it as. But, so in my eyes, I play two sports. Now, my parents have said repeatedly, honestly, stuff about, this isn't going to get you anywhere. Why are you spending all this money and all this time on this? Here's the thing. Parents want kids to be passionate about something. They want you to desperately want to play a sport or an instrument or be really into your schoolwork so that you'll do something with your life and have that drive to do something. Here's the thing. Apparently, in the eyes of some people, paintball doesn't count because it's not as established. We know this. If you play paintball, you know that it is not as established, nearly as established, as any school-sponsored sport. So your parents may want you to play football, they may want you to play baseball, or basketball, or tennis, or God knows what. They may want you to really focus on some instrument that you play and be in the marching band. Whatever. Here's the thing. Paintball, in their eyes, does not count. You have to make it count for them. So, like, show them that drive. You have to show them that. I mean, why do you think, like, to compare this to, easy one, baseball. People will spend, in paintball, you'll spend $40 maybe at practice every time. So that's one day you spend $40. Where you're actually playing. You'll spend, if you get it new or something, you may spend $1,200 on a paintball gun, not counting the air tank and your jersey and your pants and all the other crap that you get with playing paintball. All of that stuff adds up. But here's the thing, even if you're thinking about baseball, if you're like a little kid and you want to just start playing, well then your parents pay for you to get into the league. Your parents buy you a glove, your parents buy you a bat. They usually get the really cheap ones because you're a kid, you don't need the big high-end stuff. Well, okay, if you want to get to the higher level of that, if you're paying for it out of pocket, you're paying whatever. Some people, I've seen the guys at my high school, they've got like, $400 bats. and they have 3 of them, or whatever, some crazy shit like that. So you've got people with, they're super expensive high-end gloves. I don't know the difference. I used to play baseball. I played baseball for forever. Nothing against baseball players. I don't see the difference in the gloves. It's a glove. Whatever. That aside the point, you've got all this stuff that could be at this level, but you spend 18 times as much, and it's at this level. The big difference is in the eyes of the people who play it. So, that's that. But the thing is, what a lot of these guys have is parents who back that up. And so their parents pay for it. Their parents pay for them to get this. Their parents pay for their cleats. They pay for their glove. They pay for their bat. They pay for their helmet. They pay for whatever. The parents help them out. Maybe that's just because of the neighborhood I live in. I don't know. But, in paintball, parents will not back you up. They won't, because they don't recognize it as a sport. And so everything comes out of your pocket, and so every cent that you spend, well, every cent that is spent on paintball is magnified in your eyes and in theirs. Because in their eyes, it's like, you know, when you were a kid, and you would go out and you would save all your money, all whatever, $30 to buy that GameCube game, or something like that. And your parents were like, do you really want this? Do you really think this is worth your money? All that stuff. And you would say yes, 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 yes. You would get bored with it after about 5 minutes, and then you just saved all your money for all that stuff. Parents think of it that way. It is as a short-sighted spending of money that you don't need to do. In our eyes, you won't pay for our sport, so we need to. Parents back up certain sports that are established and have somewhere to go with it. What a lot of parents don't get is that if you have a passion for anything, doesn't matter what it is, if you have an actual drive to do something, you really want this, okay? I just got an article posted up on Social Paintball. I know that I'm a good writer. I think of myself as a good writer. I'm told it by all my teachers, all that good stuff. My parents are both writers, yada yada. It's in my blood. I like doing it. I was like, okay, I love paintball, I love writing. I put the two together, and I made a really cool article. And it got a whole bunch of likes on Facebook, it got a whole bunch of retweets, stuff like that. I was really psyched, okay? Because I had just taken what I do, one of my talents, and applied it to something that I love. Tell me I can't use this for something, okay? I mean, I'm making these videos, I'm trying to help other people, I'm trying to make the sport grow. You know, I don't get why parents are so against this. Honestly, back in the day, the parents, the kids who would always just go out and play ball, I mean, say they're playing baseball. This was before, baseball was ridiculously big, before it was America's pastime, Like, think all the way back, like, Honus Wagner and all of them, where they were like, 20 baseball cards made, ever. And the people didn't get paid, really. Even like back to Shoeless Joe and all that stuff like that. If you follow the sport, you know what I'm talking about. I keep on comparing it to baseball because it is probably the most basic American sport that everyone knows. Everyone knows baseball. Everyone knows a couple of the players. They know the oldies. They know stuff like that. Who knows, maybe 50 years from now or something, people will be thinking back and there'll be coliseums for paintball. There will be worldwide leagues. There will be, Little League paintball. Who the fuck knows? I mean, honestly, we have no idea where this is going to go. We have no idea where this is going to go, but what parents don't get is that if they don't back us up, and they don't give us some sort of help, or they don't at least help us in the sense that, they drive us to practice or something like that, we won't be able to find out where we can go with this. Because, I mean, I am positive that Honus Wagner did not know what he could do in terms of, like, how far this would go. I saw, like, one of his baseball cards or whatever from, like, whenever the heck it was, just sold for, like, a couple $1 million. One baseball card. Yeah? Okay. Who knows if, like, 50 years down the road, you won't be one of those guys in like the freaking Hall of Fame. And there will be actual salaries for paintball, and there will be like established teams like Dynasty 50 years from now. Say this gets bigger. Say the MPBL and the PSP actually get along, damn it, and they make an actual legit league that has the name National Professional Paintball League or something like that. It has something that can back it up. They get good locations, they get a good webcast, they have some serious money behind it, and they have a bigger series, they have a really good format, and everyone jumps on with it. Who knows what our sport could do? Who knows? So, you know what, honestly, say, like, Dynasty, 50 years from now, say that happens, they're going to be the Yankees. Like, for real. I mean, it would just, they've won, whatever, 54 tournaments so far. They've been around 10 years. Who knows what else this Dynasty could do over the course of 50. So, I mean, it's one of those things where you've really got to think just in those kind of terms, in very nebulous, who knows kind of way. Because, honestly, there is no plan. 20 years from now, it could be dead. 20 years from now, they could have very established, it could be a huge following, it could be back on ESPN, all that good stuff. But we don't know that yet, and at the moment, our sport is sort of in a bad place. We know that. It's a recession, coming out of it, you know, whatever. But, so the first thing to go is expendable income. Everybody knows that. So, if situation get tight, you get rid of the stuff you can. So, one of the first things, super expensive, paintball. Duh. So, I mean, it's sort of in a bad spot right now, but like everything else, you bounce back. That's the way it goes. So, if we're looking at it that way, and we take what we have right now, and we play with this, and we roll with this, and we give it everything we've got, like there was something to be gained out of this, someday there may be. Okay? So I'm not saying that parents don't have a place in saying this isn't going to go anywhere. But I'm sure that Honus Wagner's mom wasn't exactly all for the idea of him being a professional baseball player. Because back then, professional sports were sort of absurd. Because people didn't get paid very much. They still worked sideline jobs. They still had, they were still in pretty tough places. They weren't multimillionaires or anything like that. And if you talk to any paintball player, I swear to you, any pro paintball player has another job. Whether it be at some completely unrelated thing or like even like the really high up guys in the game, they're lucky because they have jobs in the industry. Like Sam Monville works with GOG and DLX because he's sponsored by Lux. He plays for Houston Heat. Nick Sloviak, Houston Heat again. They're sponsored by GI Sports. And he's got some, I forget the position or whatever, but he works with GI. Okay? So, I mean, they're lucky because they work in the industry, but most people don't. Okay? So, I mean, if you think of it that way, Ali Lang is Honus Wagner. You know? I mean, it could happen. Who knows? So, that's the biggest headline here, and I've said it over and over the course of this thing. Who knows? Okay? And I swear to you, your parents don't. Okay? They want to talk how much about we don't know shit, we're just kids, yada yada yada. They don't either. Okay? This is completely new to them. Paintball is probably younger than your parents are, if you're anywhere near my age. And they don't know shit either. Nobody does. Okay? So we're going to give it everything we've got right now, so that hopefully, someday, it'll be us out there. And that we'll be the up-and-coming thing. Some people don't want to call paintball a sport. The people who play it swear to you that it is. That's the way that it is. I mean, that's just how it's going to be from now until all eternity. That's just how it's going to be. But, well, hopefully not until all eternity, but you know what I mean. So, that was my rant. Hopefully this is going to be short enough that I can put on YouTube, actually. By the way, my game plan is changing. One, my team, a lot has happened. We aren't sponsored by anybody but our field anymore because none of us could afford the dye package. because even with the drop in price and everything, you just couldn't do it. We don't need it. We don't need this stuff. So I'm still gonna be getting some cool gear in pretty soon here, and I'm gonna be doing maybe a comparison video or something like that. But I'm sort of trying to stay away from all the stuff that you see everywhere else. Okay, so like all the reviews, all of the very basic stuff that everybody else covers. I don't want to do that. I want to make unique stuff. So if this kind of stuff helps, and say like, you know, comparing this with talking about the stuff with the parents, and talking about the balance between paintball and real life, and then of course the budget baller stuff, because that is I have to. So I mean, if anybody has any sort of requests, because I am getting a few subs, even with this many, with however few videos I've done. Sorry about how long it's been, by the way. But yeah, so I'm just trying to sort of change up the strategy. If you have any ideas as to stuff you would like for me to do that you haven't seen anyone else do, let me know. Put a comment under the video, message me, whatever. I'll try and get it in there, alright? I'll think of what I can do and see if I can help. Alright, so I hope you got something out of this video. Hope I'll be able to use it. I'll see you all next video. Have a nice day.